Oh, it's the beer video. I don't know why I did that spooky. But it's the beer video. It's a weird time of day, Helen, because like it's still daylight outside, but that window's closing. So I actually have a weird lamp on, so that's why the lighting is strange. Not that any
Okay. Um, there's a lot of sirens in my neighborhood, so I'm sorry that is distracting.
I can't hear them at all, honestly.
Some children crossing the street too. Don't like the look of some teenagers. It's
Mm.
fine.
Ugh.
Anyway, so boy, kind of a lot going on since last beer video, huh?
Oh my
What's
God, I know. I mean, so
I thought
we didn't do one last week for various reasons. I wasn't feeling well. Plus we had spent we spent the last part of the last end of last week helping Lex and Jaden move into a new apartment. So they're good, they're settled. I was just there last night. It's looking great. Um but yeah, I had some sort of sinus weird thing going on. I've tested for COVID like 4 or 5 times this week and I've been negative every time. So I think it's just a weird sinus thing. But holy shit, there's a lot to talk about. Yeah.
okay, so well, what do we got? Oh, the governor of my state is now Kamala Harris's vice president candidate.
Sure is. Tim balls to the walls.
A lot of people are being very weird about it, which I don't really appreciate. Okay, I think maybe we could stand to take about 20% off the top here. He's not your dad. Like, just haven't we learned our lessons about getting a little too personally attached to politicians?
Yeah. Yeah.
That being said, I don't mind him. I
Yeah.
think I think he was the best of the possible candidates.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I like about him a lot is that he serves to humiliate the big Democratic leadership in states like California and New York, who will constantly like waffle on about how they have to like half-ass like everything they do to not piss off this imagined centrist like they've created in their head. But Tim Walz is basically just kind of a centrist liberal, and the Democrats have like a one-seat majority here.
Yeah.
And we've got legal weed, free school lunches, like it's a sanctuary state basically for trans youth, abortions in the state constitution now. So, you
Yeah.
know, like I don't think any of this is particularly bold. He's not like leading a communist revolution or whatever, but like,
I know. I
they're
know.
kind of, it's the kind of thing that Democrats say they want to do constantly, but like then complain that they can't. So like
Yeah.
kind of like him for the whole thing, like
Yeah.
Gavin, what's your excuse? Um, yeah, I am constantly thinking these days of that quote, like there are weeks where decades happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
been like all of July was like that. It seemed like every weekend something insane happened, and like do you even did it's like this is not my joke. I think Jordan on Knowledge Fight said this, but it was like wasn't Trump shot like 10 years ago?
right.
It's so
And
long ago.
there's international headlines about how like JD Vance didn't fuck a couch.
Yeah.
Um, I think like, perhaps the Trump team is regretting picking a vice presidential candidate that's
Oh,
that great and off-putting.
you think? Yeah.
Yeah. They are trying like these weird personal attacks on Tim Walz, and it's just not working because he's obviously the most boring guy on earth.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing about him is the thing that I like about him that kind of I don't want to say turned me on, that's not what I mean, but is he's a good speaker. And I
Yes,
think
yes.
he's the type of guy that you need to kind of counteract that insane attack from like the right. I mean, he's a guy that I think you could put who could go toe to toe with Trump. With the difference being is that Trump's gonna just spew bullshit and he won't, but he can stand up to him. And I know he doesn't have to. I mean, that's Kamala Harris's job, but he seems like that, the type of guy that where he stands. He's pretty clear about that. Um, And I know what you're saying about people getting a little too familial with them. Because yeah, he does seem like like your dad, but
I mean, I get it on one hand,
yeah,
like he does have extremely dad vibes
he
like
does.
that. You know, like he
Yeah,
literally posted a video of himself like with ranting into his front camera in his car, and it's about how like such and such carburetor isn't made as well these days, and like that is very much his vibe.
yeah,
But you know, I I I think maybe we need to remember too that like there were two recent big labor fights here in Minnesota where he kind of caved pretty disappointingly. And, you know, I lived here during 2020.
yeah.
And while, hmm, and, you know, he did send in the National Guard and like they did like pepper spray people that were just sitting on their front stoop.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's not personally responsible for that, but like,
It's still
yeah,
his call, right? And Trump praised him for it.
yeah, and like there are people I know here that will like that still hold a grudge about it, and I think that's pretty understandable.
Yeah.
But you know, all that being said, you know, like I think he's been better than a lot of like kind of middling Democrat governors. I think he's done a lot of genuine good here, and he has like improved the quality of life in this state. So, you
Yeah,
know, like
I
I
think listen,
but
I mean,
you know,
I think the other thing too that's good about her choosing him is that I know there were a lot of progressives that were upset that there kind of really wasn't a process to find a new candidate for president. And I mean, I get some of that. I get some of that, and at the same time, I'm sort of like you have 100 days. Like it's not like you have time to go through that whole process and introduce somebody that people don't know. And I think that adding him to the ticket is at least giving the progressive sort of like that part of it where it's like, all right, we're bringing somebody in as vice president who is trying to do some of the things that you want to do nationally. And I think it's not going to be an olive branch to everybody, but I think it's a good compromise to have somebody like that on the ticket.
yeah, something someone said was that he reminds them a lot of Paul Wellstone, and I'll agree with that. That's my mom's favorite politician.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I just remember she was wearing a handmade RIP Paul Wellstone hat to the Iraq War protest we attended together in like
Oh,
two.
man.
But I mean, Paul Wellstone was not like really a radical leftist or whatever. He was
Yeah.
just, you know, he was just kind of a basic liberal who believed in the social safety net. And like, I think there was this shift in the 90s with Bill Clinton, like where Democrats tried to remake themselves as Republicans light.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not much of a British politics knower, but it seems like that's what Labor is trying to do, or at least like kind of the centrist elements of Labor. They're trying to remake themselves as Tories, but maybe they don't hate immigrants quite as much.
Yeah.
I really feel like that's such a waste of time. Anyway, oh, in some personal news, I made blue belt in
Yes.
jujitsu
Yes. That's incredible.
myself.
Helen can whip your ass.
2 fucking years to make that joke. So
It's worth it though, right?
absolutely. I anticipate getting hazed pretty heavily by my cohorts and like standing like we line up by rank at the beginning of
Yeah.
class, standing like closer to the front of the line has been a bit weird, but you know, it's just standard imposter syndrome, which I have about every single thing I do.
Oh,
So
I do too. So I completely get that. And what do I do? I'm a no belt and nothing. Well, beer. We're here
yes,
also here for beer. I do not know who went first last time.
first I think I don't know. That seems right to me.
What's that?
Why don't you go first? That seems
Sure.
like the
Okay, that's fine. So I have something from 11th Hour Brewing Company. They are and they're a Pittsburgh company. We've done them before. Anyway, this is called Marvin, and there's some kitty cats on the front.
cute.
Yeah. And so this is a dry hop saison. It's a 5.2%, 5.25% alcohol by volume. So Marvin's a beer fermented with a blend of saison yeast and then dry hopped with a generous amount of citra. So I'm expecting a lot of hops. With a Pilsner and wheat malt base, the result is a light, soft brew with notes of sweet orange peel, white pepper, and lemongrass. A perfect beer for hopheads, wheat beer lovers, and saisonophiles alike. Martin truly has many faces.
I am a saisonophile, so I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, and we're gonna be drinking out of a Dogfish Head. This is I think I've shown this glass before. I went to their brew pub in Fairfax, Virginia, and I was buying beer because we went to see Iron Maiden, and we are staying at a hotel. I didn't have a glass for my beer, so I was like, oh, I'll just run to Dogfish Head, buy some beer, and then just get a glass. And they didn't have any except for this one glass that was from their bar's fantasy football league. So I bought it. I shouldn't have this glass, but I did. Ooh, I almost knocked it over, but I do. Um, and Iron Maiden were great that night, as they
Cool.
are wont to be. And who opened that show? Ghost.
So my bragging rights thing about Ghost is I saw them on what I think was their first US tour
Yeah.
in 11. I saw them at a club in St. Paul that doesn't exist anymore called
Yeah.
Station. I don't know what exactly the capacity was, but I want to say around 200 people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Um,
remember saying at the time that I saw that tour too, and I didn't. The tour that I saw was them when they opened for Opeth and Mastodon. That's the first time I saw Ghost. That was not their first US tour. So I think that was, I'm not sure which one that was, but that's the first time I saw them. And because of the shitty gate policies at Stage AE, I missed the first song because they were not a well-oiled machine, and I got in late. So not great, but I saw most of their set. And we'll talk about Opeth later, but my God, this smells like hops are fucking in my glass, which okay. I can tell when it doesn't land. Ooh, well, that is hoppy. Ooh, hoppy and floral. Definitely the orange peel. I can taste the orange peel. I can almost taste the orange peel before the beer is in my mouth. Very pleasant. I really, really like the carbonation a lot. It reminds me of a little bit of like a seltzer, carbonation wise. Um, the bitterness is very pronounced. I say this all the time when I drink bitter beers. If you don't like bitter beers, this definitely isn't the one for you. If you do like bitter beers, this is the one for you.
that's a little strange. I thought saisons were usually, I mean, the ones I've had have been maybe not sweet necessarily, but definitely not bitter.
Yeah, this one is. I'm just assuming because, I mean, I know they say in the description that they're using it's for hopheads, so they're using a lot of hops, and so I assume that that's where this is coming from. I don't see an IBU. Um, oh, it's
Huh?
funny. They have a thing on the side of their beer that says, "Beer is fun. Don't fuss, just enjoy." We don't, we don't, we fuss here on the beer video. That's why we're here.
Yes, I am fussing right now.
Yeah, but no, it is more bitter than I would expect from a saison as well. I did not expect that, even from reading the description. But once I smelled it, I kind of had a feeling what was in store for me. Um, but it's really good. I really like it. It has a nice clean taste. I already mentioned the carbonation, how much I like it. I like a good snappy beer that, kind of tastes sharp. Um, this is that. So nice on the bitterness. Loving the orange peel. I love orange flavored things, so that is a big plus. Yeah, this is nice and refreshing. This is a good summer beer. And plus it being 5.25%, you can put a few of these down and still be able to walk around and not shit your pants.
Yay.
Hey,
Hey. Well, I'm doing this because I just saw on the back of this can it says roll first, then open. I'm
roll
like,
first. I think they're
well,
playing a trick on you.
I don't know what that's all about. I'm just gently rolling it back and forth. Um, anyway, if you want to do a shirt check, I
Yes.
would. This is a shirt I've had for a minute. It's from Gallery Fjalar. that is the art gallery that is co-owned by Gall and his partner Robin Jacobson. If you are ever in Bergen, Norway, I recommend checking it out. It's pretty cool. They usually have some good art up, and it's a bit funny because it's like right in the middle of the very touristy part of Bergen. So it's
Right
just
where
like,
you'd expect to find gall.
yeah, yeah. They have like the most adorable dynamic as a couple that like I think I've seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's usually some cool art. They got some cool stuff for sale if you want to buy some prints and such. So yeah, well worth a visit.
Yeah. Speaking of gall, the new Treldom album is coming out beginning of September.
New Charlton.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Unfortunately on Prophecy, who I can't even explain why they would sign Knockmistium, but whatever. Um,
Oh God. Oh, I saw something
yeah.
like Doc Mistium. Boy, he's really trying to make it happen again.
Oh, he
Oh,
sure is. He
I
sure is.
feel
Yeah.
like I saw Knock Mistium ages and ages ago, just because they're from New Hampshire, right? Maybe I'm
No,
imagining.
Chicago.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of another band then. All I know is Blake Judd's infamous for ripping people off.
Yep. Yeah, a friend of mine is a victim. Yeah.
I feel like I know somebody who at one point was a victim. And my husband may be the only person who has an actual piece of Knock Mistium merch.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it was because it was a poster that he bought when he saw them. So,
Oh, okay. That's yeah.
hands and it was put into his hand. So,
Yeah, I had a shirt from the album Black Metal Part One, but I don't have it anymore because.
yeah.
But speaking of shirts, I'm wearing, and I'm not wearing this on purpose. I just sort of realized this is a little bit humorous what I'm wearing based on the last video. But I am wearing a couch slut shirt. So, yeah, just some fingers in the eyeballs and then their logos on the back. So,
Everyone, they have a limited edition Shady Vance shirt.
they do.
Half the proceeds go to a Palestinian Children's Relief Fund.
Yep.
So if
It's
you
an
are,
incredible shirt.
it truly is. If you're in need of a new band shirt, I highly recommend picking that one up. I haven't yet, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping to next paycheck.
I know Jaden picked that shirt up. They didn't get it yet, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think they're just waiting to see how many they need to print till like September 1st.
Yeah. Hopefully a lot. Why does it keep getting darker in here? Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, so what I've got here is a slice of paradise. It is a key lime smoothie sour.
Ooh.
Ice is kind of famous around here for making really good sours. They've got a pineapple one and a raspberry one I've had that I like quite a bit.
Yeah.
Have a lovely brew pub. It's right on the Mississippi River. I stopped there a couple times after like a long bike ride, and I will say they have, I think, the best bathrooms of any tap room I've been to. Because they've got like the European airport style bathrooms where they have like floor to ceiling doors,
Yeah. Yeah.
So few places in America do that, and I don't understand why, because it's really nice having that extra bit of privacy.
Yeah.
Um,
There
yeah.
was a so Jerome Bettis, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, he had a restaurant on the north side for a while. It is so dark, and let me see what happens when I turn the light off. Oh, that's worse, huh?
Quite a bit. Oh no. Okay.
Um, he had a brew pub for a while, not a brew pub, a restaurant for a while on the north side, and the I don't know if the women's room was like this, but the men's room when you're standing at the urinal, it's a one-way mirror. So you feel like you're pissing in front of the entire restaurant, and nobody can see you because it's a one-way mirror. But when you're pissing, you're not really thinking about that. I'm gonna go turn the light on over here. Good, you talk.
Well, not much head to speak of. Kind of a nice medium golden
Know what
color.
that's like? Just kidding.
Eh,
Just kidding. See, that's
really,
not much better. All right, go ahead.
a little bit of lime. Very, very carbonated, quite fizzy.
We both had carbonated beers this week, very carbonated.
Hmm. Mm. Yep, that's definitely a dessert sour.
Huh.
Um, the first thing that hits is the lime, very tart.
Yeah.
Um, and then I taste the graham cracker, vanilla, and marshmallow. Hmm.
Pleasant.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm just not crazy about dessert sours in general.
Yeah.
Like I know what they were trying to go for, and I think they pulled it off pretty well. Um, but this is like, okay, if you've ever had a dessert wine like a sherry or a port, um, they can be quite nice, but it's like they're so heavy and decadent, you don't want more than one. And that's exactly how I feel about this one. Um,
Why do you think you have to roll it? Like, is there like a thick consistency or something like that? Or like, can you see?
like, is there actual bits of pie in this? Is
Well, that's
that
what I
how?
was wondering. Like, because I know some beers, like you get a little bit of sedimentation at the bottom.
Yeah, it's quite hazy if you can see. So I
Yeah, yeah.
that in there. It's got some lactose in there as well, which I have some mixed feelings on lactose in beer. I think it can be nice,
Yeah.
say as a sweetener, but it's got like a very overwhelming tongue coating.
It does.
Well,
It does, yeah.
unless you have quite a light hand with it, it can be a bit much. And I think it is a little much in this one. Um, hmm. But this is still pretty good. I think the tartness of the lime cuts the sweetness a little bit, and it's still a little too sweet for me personally.
Yeah.
Um, which is my issue, I think, with a lot of sours these days. Sometimes, I remember when sours first became a big thing, like there were like a lot of just sour beers going around, like straight up tasting like vinegar. And I kind of miss those days. I feel like now it's like they all kind of taste like gummy candy,
Yeah, yeah.
which is not terrible, but
There's only so much of that. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of my palate's the same way. I'm sort of like I can handle maybe one, but even I always the as far as dessert beers go, I always use this as an example. Southern Tier has a creme brulee, st I think it's a stout, and it is almost like drinking a milkshake. It's thick, it's sweet, and it doesn't taste bad, but it's like you get a quarter of the way through the glass and you're just tired. It's like eating pancakes. Pancakes are good, but you get to a certain point and it's like, all right, I tap out. I can't do this anymore.
that Ven Brewing, think like this, not this past week, not this weekend, but like the previous weekend. And they had like an orange and chocolate imperial stout.
Huh.
And they were like pours in various sizes. And I got just a 4 ounce pour of that because I was like, that sounds like a beer where 4 ounces is going to be just about enough. And
Yeah.
but yeah, like I definitely got that feeling like it was just like very overwhelming. It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really need more than like a sippy cup size of this.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I wonder, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's people that just love those that can drink them all day, but yeah, I that's not my thing at all. But, what are you gonna do? It's that's why there's different styles of beer because everybody has a different idea of what they like. That's the most obvious thing I've ever said in the history of the beer video. Yeah. Uh, well, um, so I mentioned Opeth earlier, and we talk about music sometimes, but For anybody familiar with Opeth, the long-running Swedish death metal band, well, sort of. For the last three records, they've just been a progressive metal band. No growls, no death, no nothing. And I've not been into it. I think a lot of people haven't been into it. Um, so when the new single came out, I was getting ready to walk the dog. It was kind of getting dark, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna just put this song on, take her around the block. And I got about halfway up the block when the growls came in and almost dropped my phone. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's happening again. But it's not just growls. They sound like old Opeth again. So I've been fortunate enough to hear the entire record, just because I do a website and I was sent just a stream of the album. Like I don't have a download of it, but a stream of it. And I listened to the whole thing a couple times, and it feels like old Opeth, but there are still some moments that are like the last few records. But they're more palatable because it's not a whole record of that stuff. It's here and there. And plus, fucking Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull plays flute on a song.
Oh man, is
Yeah,
he
it's good. It's a concept record. What's
that Grammy over Metallica?
was that?
Is he atoning for winning that Grammy over Metallica?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's long suffering for the Crest of the Knave album. Um, but the whole thing's a concept album because I guess Michael Ackerfeld got into Succession just like everybody else and just wrote a full record just sort of about a fledgling patriarch who is trying to figure out how to handle his finances once he has passed away. So it's grim. It's fucking good. Like I really like it. I am excited to buy the whole thing, and I'm just
Barely anecdote, but I have met Mike Ackerfeld.
I've
Uh,
interviewed him.
yeah, he's really nice.
Yeah.
So I met him. I kind of bullshit my way into saying hello, and my friend Jose is a huge Opeth fan, and I like introduced them, which was kind of my big friendship achievement. He owes me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, uh, and he just talked with Jose's Brazilian, so
Mhm.
he talked with him about Brazilian pop music for like forever,
Wow.
and he's just lovely and kind and
Yeah.
patient. And we were both like pretty drunk, so he kind of tolerated us very well.
I
Yeah.
interviewed him. I don't remember what record it was, but I interviewed him, and the beginning of the interview, whenever he got on, um, he's got. I mean, anybody who's heard him talk, he's got sort of like a rich, sort of baritone speaking voice, and he comes off as like yeah, like you said, like this incredibly nice guy, and he just is. Like that's not a gimmick. And so we started like even before we started talking about the record, he was telling me about his cat and
Of
stuff that's
course.
going on outside his house and stuff like that. Yeah, so we before we even talked about music, he just started in and was you know, um just telling me stuff about his personal life and his cat, like I said. I mean, so if somebody's gonna start talking to you right away about their cat, you can trust them.
I'll say, God,
Yeah.
yeah. I I don't. I think I've probably sent it to you before, but I need to send you that picture of him and Jose and me
Mhm.
because he looks like because we're both a lot shorter than him, so he looks like a dad sending his kids off to school.
Yeah. I think I might go. They're in Pittsburgh toward the end of October. So I think I may go see them. It's been a while, so I really want to hear what the new stuff sounds like live, and they still do their old stuff, and so um I
I
don't
saw the festival. This is where I met him at Inferno Festival in 2019. I can confirm they're still a terrific live band, and they played hits.
yeah. When I saw the last time I saw them, it was on one of their prog albums that they put out. And so I was just kind of going to see like, oh, what are they going to play? And then I don't remember what they opened with, but like first song he was growling. So it was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, we're getting a mix of everything, which is good. And as again, this record's like a mix of everything. So if you like every era of Opeth, you'll be happy with it. If you've really been hankering for the death metal like I have, there's plenty on there. So Yeah, I'm pumped about it. I'm just glad to have, I'm glad they made Opeth great again. Anyway, it's been the beer video. Helen, we'll try to do another one next week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm seeing Haunt and Savage Master on Saturday, but maybe let's try for next Sunday.
Yeah, we can try that. I love
Yeah.
Savage Master. I've seen them live a few times. What's her name? Stacy Savage, I think their singer. She's
Yeah,
like 4'3" and a powerhouse. So
I have seen them. Yes.
yeah. Um yeah. A pro wrestler that I follow on Patreon posted she posts like Halloweenish type costume because she plays sort of like a spooky character. And so she posted a photo that she called Whips and Chains. So I sent her the link to the Savage Master song with Whips and Chains. So uh yeah. So go listen to Savage Master and uh I am so bad at ending these, Helen. I'm so bad at ending these.
Mm.
I just I have to like have a George Costanza moment and just like walk off. So
Yeah, just Irish goodbye your way out of this.
all right, that's it. Fuck off.